cultists, and I guess belated Happy New Year's. It's 2023 now, which is wild that I've been doing this for music in general for almost 3 years now. I wanted to say a huge thank you to helping me get 10,000 subscribers here on YouTube, and I'm very appreciative of all of the love and support and the fact that people are even enjoying my works. So huge thanks to all of you music cultists out there who've just been coming back to the channel, recommending it to friends, and just listening to all of the banger songs. Now, as I stated in a post, I'm going to be doing a Ask Me Anything /Q&A. So I want to get through some of the list of questions I've been getting regarding music and a couple of other personal things. So, by all means, let's get started. Alright, we have from Trena, great dude on the server. By the way, we have a Discord server if you guys are interested in joining. Link should be down below. Asking, what the dog doing? The dog doing this. What's up, Oliver? This is Oliver. He's the cult doggo. He's been my best friend for 12 years, about to be 12 years, because he's going to turn 12 very soon. Even though he's getting a little bit old, he's still got so much energy. Isn't that right, buddy? Yeah, good boy. I know I've talked about him a few times on the channel, and I did want to kind of divulge more on this, but yeah, he's a cult dog. He's like my bestest friend and my co-pilot in everything I do, so I bring him everywhere. And you don't know how happy I am that I get to do a job where I can work from home and be around him all the time. And I know he really loves it because he's just like always wants to go with me and be around me. So, you know, big ups that I get to spend every day with my my dog, and it means a lot to me. I know some people are like, so what, you get to spend every day with your dog? No, it actually means a ton to me, more than you guys actually may know. So this little jerk here beat cancer. That's right, buddy. He beat cancer like 3 years ago, and he's doing great. It's awesome, actually. So we're trying to keep his health up as much as possible, and he's been doing a great job. All right, let's get on to the next question. How do you deal with people that try to force your hand via impersonation? Well, that hasn't really happened. I guess there's been the offshoot of people re-uploading my work from time to, like, really rarely. It's not much of a thing that happens, but honestly, it doesn't. It's not that it doesn't bother me. It's more so like, in the long run, it doesn't really mean anything. My hand's never been forced through impersonation. And the community has been so on top of it and great that a lot of times it's you guys who, like 90% of the time, are the first ones to tell me, hey, somebody else uploaded this under your name. Is it you? Because it seems like a different channel. And I'll be like, oh, let me look it up. And I'll politely talk to the people and be like, hey, you know, if it's a re-upload, prefer if you didn't, or at the least, if you're, you know, just doing a new stream with new visualizers and whatnot, can you please, like, link everything properly? But that rarely happens, and, you know, I'm glad that's not much of an issue. Next question from my admin, Alpha. When do I start getting my paychecks? So they're in the mail right now. You just gotta, it's in the mailbox. We already sent them out, you know, and you already got them. I'm just saying, you already got paid for your administration work here at the Music Cult. Totally. Next from Vandom43. What do you think is the most important thing for people who want to start writing their own songs / music to keep, to learn or keep in mind? So, something to learn and keep in mind. And I'm a big proponent of free education and free knowledge, really. Is when you are learning music, for one, if there is a paid course to do something online, screw that. Don't do that. Don't do these paid courses, whatever. You can find out everything you need on YouTube or other free, you know, platforms. You can even ask other musician friends. And if you don't have any, it's not that hard to figure out. So for one, I use FL Studios. And I learned from a friend of mine the bare basics of mixing, which is, in my opinion, kind of the hardest part. From there, when it comes to writing, listen to notes, hear the notes, put them next to each other, and see how they sound to you. The only important thing when you're writing music is what sounds good to you and what you like to hear. Because if you're not a fan of it, then people are going to hear that, and your heart's not really in it. So my biggest recommendation is make stuff you want to learn, or you want to hear, and make sure you enjoy it, every process of it. There are bits that are always going to suck, but learn to appreciate them. So starting out, though, just start writing. Just start putting out whatever, and don't be afraid to put out something that you think is I've done that plenty of times in the past. Get stuff out the door. Don't stay on a single project for too long, because it's detrimental. It's okay to fail. It's okay to write bad stuff that you think is bad, you know, because there's some songs that I used to hate on this channel. I go back to it and I'm like, you know what? That's actually pretty good. I actually enjoy this now. So that's my recommendation to you. And I know we're going to get more music questions in here too. Thingy asks, I noticed that you said you've been making your own music for a few years, but did you ever practice playing instruments and or have familiarity of music fundamentals beforehand? So, actually, yeah, when I was a kid, like real young, back when I'd spend summers with my grandpa, I would, he had a little tiny Casio piano, which was like cheap and whatever, and they had pre-written songs on there. So as a kid, to pass by time, I would hear stuff like Fur Elise and Moonlight Sonata without knowing what the notes were or anything. I think I was maybe like 6 at the time or something. I would like take a piece of cardboard and a Sharpie and just start, I'd also take tape, put tape on all the keys and just start putting like letters and numbers on the keys. And I would try to like recreate what I heard based on the notes by ear. In middle school, I played all all brass instruments at least once. Started on the trumpet, went all the way to the baritone. I've done the French horn and everything. I don't remember any of those anymore. Like, I do not know how to play any of them. And then finally, I ended on steel drums, which is not necessarily like drums. But high school, nothing. I just did singing. And I have been doing singing for a long time on and off as kind of a hobby for fun. So, I guess you could say, you know, I kind of have an inclination to music. I feel like I've always been drawn to it. I never saw it as a potential career for myself. But there was a point where I just felt like, oh, wow, I can make this a career. And God, do I love this? And do I want to do this with my life? All right. FBI.gov asks, what is something that you want to try new in your compositions in the future? Alternate question, how close are you to completing some of your goals, i.e. composing some video game studio stuff? Okay, so for the second question, I actually have composed for video games. Kind of. Indie games. And I will occasionally get some indie game devs asking me, oh, hey, can we like, you know, use some of your stuff or hire you for something? And my response most of the time is, yeah, absolutely. It depends how busy I am. But lately I've just been really busy, so I haven't been doing that as much. I have, though, worked for video games. Some are actually, one in particular is on this channel, if you guys want to go find it. It is risque, I guess you could say, but great production. I still, you know, work with the guys occasionally, and love the entire team. Those guys are phenomenal. I do plan on working for video games. I really want to work for bigger companies in the future, and just see where things go. But honestly, anything where any reason I can get to make music for a living that makes me happy enough. You know, it's not just video games too. It's also TV productions, movies, what have you. And oh god, actually, anime is one of my big goals. So, would highly love to do that. Not sure how close I am to that goal, but one day. In terms of my goals, I feel like I've been accomplishing them and slowly just climbing up at a good, healthy rate. For your first question, What are some new things I want to try? Well, I'm actually doing them now. I want to get more into... I want to learn more about J-Rock. I want to expand more on EDM, because I feel like EDM for me is very weak. And I plan on incorporating a lot more into my music as it stands. Kind of sort of why uploads have been going a little bit slower this year, but I do plan on improving that. I used to be a quantity kind of over quality dude, but that's when I was first really learning everything I could about music, so I was trying to pump out as much as possible. Not just for the sake of my channel, but for the sake of me learning. I just wanted to make as much as humanly possible. Now that I learned so much in my 3 years, I kind of want to take it back a bit and really try to refine everything that I've been working on. Alright. Memechem commits DJ crimes. Ass. How many levels of irony are you on right now? I don't know, about 4, I think. Maybe 4 or 7. It's one of those. Definitely. Admiral Punk. Why do you make bangers so consistently? I don't know. I just make music that I like to hear. That's ultimately it. Like, if it seems like maybe I'm trying to make something for other people or try to appeal to the masses, no, never. No. Anything I put out typically is because I like it, and that's the stuff I want to hear on my car ride. So I casually listen to my own music pretty consistently because that's what I want to hear on my day-to-day. Is it a bit narcissistic? Maybe. We don't know. I don't know. Not sure. But, you know, I'll leave that for you to decide. How much time do you spend composing music? So, in the past, I'd say 2 years ago or last year, like early last year, I'd spend as little as 30 minutes on a song and as much as 7 or 8 hours on a song. I think A Tale of Two Sisters took about like 9. Nowadays, the minimum I spend on music is about 4 to 5 hours, and the most is 10 or 12 hours. If I'm looking at just the project time, I'm not considering or putting in those as much like the time I spent studying stuff, because I will take plenty of time to deconstruct songs that I really like, bit by bit, and then learn why is it that I like them. So I'm not going to factor that into the time, but when I'm working on a specific song for the channel, it's about that much time. SCP-682 asks, can you make a sad song for me? There's already a million sad songs on the channel. I make a lot of sad stuff. Sorry. But there will be more. And just between you and me, that one's for you, buddy. That one's for you. Okay? Don't tell anybody. That one is for you. The next sad song that comes out, that's for you. Yuri asks, what's my favorite keto recipe? I've been looking forward to this question. So, what is keto for one? I typically eat a ketogenic diet, kind of, sort of, but that means it's a low carb, moderate to low amount of protein, high amount of fat. I started this diet 2 years ago. It wasn't really for the weight loss. It was more so I stopped feeling tired and like groggy anytime I would eat food or have a big meal or whatever, and I wanted to portion control better. Now I intermittent fast and do keto. So, honestly, I really love the diet. It's not just the fad diet too, and it's really nice that a lot of like grocery stores, Costco, Walmart too, have all been catering more to ketogenic diets. Basically, no sugar in a lot of the snacks, foods, or what have you. Keto bread is like a godsend to me. Super love the diet. Highly recommend it to anyone that might be interested. Even if you want to lose weight, it does target primarily body fat. So, you know, it does work. My roommate lost like 90 pounds. It's amazing how well he's done. As for favorite recipe, I think right now I keep to a very simple recipe just because I'm broke. So I would say it would be keto toast with a bit of butter, like a chicken salad from the Kirkland chicken salad from Costco, and truff hot sauce. Sounds weird, I know. That's my go-to though. That like I will eat that every single day, like one slice of that, and that keeps me going for the entire day. It's not even that high in calories too. It's pretty like relaxing, and you can vary it up too. So that's honestly my go-to recipe. I used to do much crazier stuff with keto back in the day. I would make a keto pizza out of like chicken and eggs to make the crust, and then there's so much crazy stuff you can do. I've even made keto empanadas, and those are like awesome. Next from Iron Cobra. What would you say to a person getting into music production? Vibe, motivation, money, budget, and time. Okay, so if you want to get into music production, most people started off as a hobby, that I've noticed. Even some of my friends. We all do it as a hobby at first. Even me, I started off as kind of a hobby. It was only when I realized how much I loved it did I start taking it really seriously and pursue it as a career. So the first thing I should address is, if you really want to pursue this as a career, money. The money sink into music production is quite high. Not just for the computer stats. Even though you can make music on a potato of a computer. While it's going to be fine for whatever you're trying to do, eventually you're going to want to move up, especially if you want to start using more virtual instruments and everything. So it's instrument libraries that cost the most amount of money, right? Plugins and everything cost the most amount of money. I think for music in total, like plugins and everything that I've purchased, I've easily spent $4,000 or $5,000 on all my plugins and everything. And there's still more for me that I plan on getting, because I've used demos of things in the past or instruments in the past. And I'm like, oh, it's amazing. I want this. And instead, I just keep trying to use the demo version over and over, which can only get you so far. But or recreate it with other stuff that's not as good. So it's very convoluted and it doesn't sound perfect. But yeah, no, spending about that much money does cost a lot. But yeah, so spending, you're gonna have to spend quite a bit of cash if you want to professionally get into music. But as a hobby, you can do it pretty cheap. So for FL Studio, which never buy the $100 one. The cheapest one they have for FL Studio, don't buy that one. If you're gonna get FL Studios, get the $200 one. Lifetime of upgrades. They just came out with FL21 at the time of this recording, like in December. It's amazing. It's awesome. Their stock plugins are Christ. They're great. They even give you a demo song of like, this is what you can do in the program with just the stock. It's immaculate what you can do with just FL stock. And there's channels upon scores of channels that do crazy productions with just the stock plugins. Honestly, consider it. But yeah, in my opinion, FL Studios is the go-to. Ableton is also really nice. I might plan on doing some FL Studio like learning sessions in the future, like streams, but we'll see about that. Still, pick the DAW that looks the best to you. Ableton actually has like a payment plan that you can do, and they don't really have lifetime upgrades, but they have some upgrades. There's also Studio One and a bunch of other different DAWs out there, right? In terms of motivation, though, if you really want to get into music and you want to be serious about it, if you want to be serious about anything, any hobby, any whatever, and you want to get good, if you want to get good at anything, just do it every single day or every day that you can do it. Same thing with singing. Same thing with playing on the guitar. I mean, Ichika Nito, when he was in his teens, played guitar 5 hours a day, every single day, and that's the skill level he's at today that we all see him for. So no, yeah, do it every single day. I spend just about every single day on FL Studios writing something. Even if I don't really feel like it, drag myself out of bed and just start writing. Even if I'm like, I'm never going to use it, right? I don't trash it. I just keep writing and I don't stop writing. Sometimes it'll turn into a very productive session. Also, look for stuff to deconstruct too. It's an amazing tool for learning. Find a song you like, try to tear it apart. Try to find out what the notes are. Do it by ear. Look online, find MIDIs of it. Do whatever you can. So, yeah. Alright, a Chainsaw Catman asks, how often do you notice that you were inspired by something in particular? Bands, artists, and their songs, while doing your stuff. Is it frustrating to you, and to what degree? What I mean is, sometimes you end up getting a proportion of your songs similar to some other songs, while obviously wanting your own thing, but it's not as unique as you might want, that's assuming. And personally for me, it was frustrating at first, but then I kind of learned how to deal with it. Okay, so it's not frustrating for me. I'll be real. It's not. When I'm the parallels a lot of people have drawn, which I've also updated my description, and I've talked to people in the comments about it. For Starless Night is very similar feeling and sounding to Golden Hour by Jake. I love that song. It is probably not as they both, while they are distinct and different to a degree, they both feel the same. And this is the same with a couple other songs I've done in the past. Like, it doesn't frustrate me. If anything, it just shows, oh, you know what? I need to get better at really learning how to replicate this vibe on my own without, like, taking much inspiration. But I think taking inspiration's fine. It's good. Now, I am not saying plagiarize. Completely different. But, you know, if I take inspiration, I'm like, oh, man, that sounds really close. Sometimes if I feel that way initially, off the bat, like, oh, that sounds super close to the thing I'm taking inspiration from, I'll just go, oh, you know what? Let me go back. Let me change it more, right? Let me change the structure. Let me change some other stuff, and let me keep changing it. Or something else you could do: take your song, render it out completely, right? Make a new song file and try to now replicate and take inspiration from that song. You keep doing this a few times, it's like playing a game of telephone. You end up with something completely different. But it doesn't frustrate me, not in the least bit. If anything, it just shows, okay, well, I have more of a ways to go. To get to the point of where it's like, I can do this genre or this type of song on my own, right? Don't need anything. And also, sometimes I can do it on my own, right? I just don't feel the motivation for it. So I think being inspired by songs is great as a motivator, by all means. But, I understand that's a personal thing, and if some people are struggling with that, well, it's okay. You can just keep at it, and you can use those tools that I just offered to keep doing renditions on until you feel better about it. All right, Eden asks, what's your favorite Synth V voice bank, and is it Henri? No, it's Solaria. Sorry. I'm sure Henri's great. I plan on getting more in the future. For those of you who don't know, Synth V is like a Vocaloid no, straight up, it's just a Vocaloid. And I've used it on a couple songs such as Lovesick, Lunacy, and Glow. One of my favorite songs, Glow. So, Solaria, probably my favorite. I love how real it sounds. It's actually not done by the Synth V company. It's done by a secondary company, a third party. And I've also had the pleasure of talking to that company. They're really chill. They're really awesome. Super, great. If anyone wants to get into Vocaloid producing, whether you want it to sound very robotic or hard-tuned, I would say. Not robotic, but hard-tuned. Synth V is perfect for it, and I would say that it's relatively cheap compared to Vocaloid. Vocaloid's quite expensive. Vocaloid's made by Yamaha, I think. And they even have free versions of Synth V, so by all means, go look it up and try it out. They have free voice banks that you can try out. The only thing is that if you're going to post songs with it, you have to put in the credits, that it's a Synth V thing. But you guys can look that up. All right. Blaze asked, as well as Inevitable Bushman, what got you into Arknights? So, what got me into Arknights? I'll be real. I was on, I think, 2021 or something. I've been playing for almost essentially 3 years. So, I was just scrolling through YouTube, and I've been hearing a lot about this new gacha game. And I never played gacha before. Well, it's not true. I played Chain Chronicles, which is old. But I hadn't really been into gacha, and I'd never definitely spent money on it. So I saw Arknights from a YouTuber, and I really started getting like into it. Like I loved the lore. I loved the world building was like the coolest thing to me, and I'm a huge fan of tower defense. So when I saw that, I'm like, yo, this is awesome. Let me give it a try. Gave it a try. I was pretty like into it. Story was but I really loved the gameplay enough to keep going. And as more chapters unlocked and the more I progressed, I felt like, oh, you know what? This is pretty good. So the rates I felt in the gacha were actually pretty nice. Oh, doggo. Out getting a drink. The story for me picked up at around chapter 4 to 5. After the Children of Ursus event, that's when I started to get really hooked onto the story and actually started caring a ton. And obviously, episode 6, I should say, was amazing. It was great, and it's very clear that the writing team really picked up. I wish I could say the same about the anime, because that pacing is rough. Very rough, but I expected this. I think we all did. We all knew it wasn't going to be like a masterpiece. Very pretty. It's probably the prettiest looking gacha game I've ever watched in terms of an anime. But yeah. But yeah, what got me into Arknights was just watching it from a YouTuber, and then, you know, watching it from several YouTubers, and then eventually playing it, and I got hooked. It was that simple. Okay, on to the YouTube questions. What was your inspiration when creating music? Also, any chance for synthwave style music? Congrats on 10K subscribers. Thank you. My inspiration for music is stuff I just like listening to. So some of my favorite bands are Dance Gavin Dance, Hail the Sun, Bill Murray, which I'll probably put them up on screen so you guys don't get confused as to, you know, who they'd be like, Bill Murray, the actor. No, the musician, who is awesome and very underrated. Love that dude. I'm a huge fan of metal, obviously, but after doing this job, I've really grown to appreciate every other genre. And I can't wait to actually be working on more genres. And that was a huge thing for me, is I wanted to touch every single genre when working on songs. And I plan on still making more genres. So leading into that, synthwave. I've actually already done synthwave, kind of. Maybe it's not synthwave as you might define it, since genres get a little bit messy, as you guys may or may not know. So yeah, no, I will do some more synthwave though. Absolutely, I plan on it. That was from Plumwin. Charles asks, Texas or Lapland? Then, what is your favorite operator? And your favorite designed operator? Okay, so, Texas or Texas, probably. Probably Texas. I think Lapland's very interesting in terms of her design and everything. I actually do really like Lapland quite a bit. Lore-wise, I feels like they haven't really done much with her, aside from her just being crazy girl. Reading more into it, it's really tragic, but I'm hoping they do more story stuff with her, and would really like to see that, because now we're finally getting more Texas stuff, so I'm very much looking forward to the event. My favorite operator as a unit, it's probably Thorns, because he's always on my team, but that's slowly shifting to Golden Glow, who is just, she is a staple. She's a staple in everything I bring. Wait, I can't, like, there's an IS run I was doing, or some challenge mode I was doing, and I couldn't have her attack enemies or something lest she would get hit. So I had her facing the wall, just so I could use her global. You know, she didn't normally attack anyone, just charged up her global. That global her skill is insane. Very much love GG, and she carries me through a lot of content. That's probably my favorite unit to use. Favorite aesthetically, that's really tough. I don't know if I have a favorite. Although, Akafuyu has a special place in my heart. Won't lie. I don't know, just something about Akafuyu just really gets me. And maybe Ashlock. And maybe La Pluma. God, I love abdomens. Okay. Sadist asks, what is my all-time favorite anime and video game? All-time favorite anime? Oh, that's tough. That's really tough. Okay. So it's probably Gurren Lagann or Samurai Champloo. Samurai Champloo is such a vibe. I think, yeah, and actually, I think it's gonna be Samurai Champloo. It's probably my number one. To me, it feels timeless, and I've watched it several times. It's so enjoyable. I love everything about that show. Favorite video game? Dead Space 2. Easily Dead Space 2. It's a game I have played a million times over. Next is probably Persona 5, because God, is it so nice. The only, actually, might even, it's something else could have thrown it though, just because while its story is amazing, I hate its hand holding, because it feels like 4 hours of tutorial, and I hate the hand holding. But yeah, Dead Space 2, top for me, and I'm very much looking forward to the Dead Space remake that's coming out very soon. So yeah. From Seer, have you always been into music? Yeah, I'd say so. I've always loved and had an admiration for music. I always really was into music. I loved, like, deconstructing bits in my ear and just feeling stuff out, hearing out scenarios. Really loved music since I was a kid. I didn't know how much I actually really loved music. I didn't know that, truthfully, doing music was like my calling in life. When I actually started taking it seriously, because I'd been singing, you know, and everything, doing covers for fun, not even to post online, but just doing covers. I even taught my friends how to sing and do like heavy vocals and whatnot, because they were going into metal bands. You know, it was after a while of like making my own music. It was like, man, I really love this. Like, this feels, everything just clicked for me. It all felt natural. It felt like right to me. So I guess I have always been into music. I just didn't know how much, and I never saw this ever being a career for me. And then our final question from Truck-chan. What brought me into the music world? So what brought me into the music world, well, it was a lot of things, as you've heard from all this Q&A, but what really brought me into the music world was I joined a band, and with my best friend, and, you know, had a good time. My best friend ended up leaving the band, and I was doing vocals. I did all the clean singing. But every time I heard the music, and I really liked the music, I was just like, I feel like we could just do this a bit better. I did really like it, but I just like, I wanted to add more to it. And I couldn't really add that much to it, you know, for obvious reasons. And you know, no disrespect at all to those band members. Those guys are great. Still love those guys. But after a while, I you know, the drummer had taught me how to, because I asked him, he was a producer, and he worked at a studio, and I had asked him, hey, I want to start learning this. I have FL Studio. You know, can you teach me the basics? And he used Logic. So from there, I learned all the basics, started learning how to plug away stuff, and then he was like, you want to do a little side project? And we did. And I was able to start writing all the guitars, and he wrote all the drums and everything, and it was great. And he noted, oh man, you're super fast at this. I'm like, yeah, I am actually. This feels like super easy. So I just kept writing, and I kept doing it non-stop. And I still have those early songs up on the channel. It's called Court of Rogues. Fun songs. I actually might redo them under my own brand now. But yeah, it did get to a point of where I was, after doing a couple of Arknights stuff, immediately started getting work contacted for commissions. And eventually that was paid work that took over my time, and you know, the band was like, hey, we noticed you don't really have enough time for it. And I was very apologetic. I'm like, I don't, because this is my main job now. This is paying me money. So I no longer was in the band, and now I've just been doing this. But it's honestly thanks to that drummer and the band for really, you know, getting me into this world, and I'm beyond appreciative of it. So yeah, no, I'm thanks to that, I've just been having a blast. So those are all the questions, and I just wanted to wrap things up saying thank you, everyone, so much. it means a ton to me that I was able to hit my goal of 10K before the year ended, and I was trying to work as hard as possible to show everyone that I could absolutely do it. That with enough hard work and not like begging friends or begging other big people and stuff to shout me out, that, you know, I could hit that milestone on my own. So thank you everyone so much. And for 2023, definitely a lot of huge projects already in the works that I had negotiated and contracted. So at times you might see a little bit less of me, but I do plan on doing more, and I would like to do streams again now that I have a working camera. Just forgot to mention, is a new camera. Got a brand new camera. It's awesome. So I want to do more video game streams from time to time, just to chill with the community. And I want to put out more music, obviously. I want to really flesh out some crazier ideas I have. I actually want to make a full-on story album where it is from start to finish telling a cohesive story, and each song bleeding into the next song. That is something I'm planning on, and getting a few friends to join on. I also want to collaborate with more friends, which will be happening, definitely. But yeah, my overall goal though is I do, while it is a career for me and this does pay bills, it's not as sustainable, but I'm working hard to make it more sustainable for myself. So it's a little bit less iffy, and I have to take on a lot less commissions or contracted work, and I can focus more on just, you know, the work that I already can commit to no problem, and focus on like the YouTube. So yeah, I want to work harder to develop and grow the channel a lot more. I want to get some crazier stuff done. I would love to collaborate with more people, which will take time because my schedule is always swamped all the time, yet I will find a way to always make time for people. It's always been my stance. Really, my end goal, and I'll open up about something a little bit personal here. My end goal in life is, or at least for my career, is on streaming revenue alone to be totally fine. And I'm not talking mansion or nothing like that. No. I just want to be able to afford living and everything, afford all basic necessities, and just keep doing this as a job. And also to support my roommate, who for years had supported me in doing this as a career, letting me ride rent-free. Occasionally you might see him on the channel too, especially in the future. Because that man is a saint, and I love him like a brother, and he's been my best friend for over 10 years. So I want to get to a point of where I can support him, and he doesn't have to work, and he gets to do whatever he wants to do, which is he wants to pursue writing. So I want to give him the same opportunity that he gave me. So that's why I'm working so hard, so desperately hard at times, to just really make the most out of this career and take it as far as humanly possible. And I'm not going to stop. I love music way too much. It's the most important thing in my life, and I don't plan on stopping. So thank you everyone again for 10,000 subscribers, for millions of views and watch hours on the channel. Maybe not millions, but maybe a million. I don't know. I'm not going to pull up the statistic right now, but quite a lot. And I hope you guys stick around, because it's only going to get better in terms of quality of music and the different stuff. I'm definitely not going to stop writing the best that I can. And there's a ton of other side projects too that I really want to show you guys. Like I'm going to be working with Alpha Aniki. Well, I've been working with him. He's also a bro of mine, and I've been loving everything him and I are working on. So cannot wait to show you guys more of that. Anyways, I've taken up so much time. Thank you all so much. Have a good one, Music Cultists.